Now, I have a question. I have a question out of curiosity. I get to hear this from quite a lot of people. You just now mentioned that Vedanta gives you the freedom to even worship anything. I mean, like Vedanta tells you that you can worship anything, whatever you can feel like. And then you mentioned Jesus. So how come Vedanta and Jesus in one page? Can you
Yes.
elaborate and explain me?
Yes. Of course, in Vedanta, it comes from the Ramakrishna mission. Sri Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and Sarada Devi. They are called the trio. So that's what we follow, right? We follow the principles of Sri Ramakrishna and his disciples. And it's part of the Vedanta is one of the schools of Hindu philosophy, right? So that is the core. But what I love about Vedanta is that this is the message that Swami Vivekananda brought to the West when he came to Chicago in 1893. He said, all religions are seeking the same thing. So why do we keep fighting about my God is better than your God? It's ridiculous, right? All excuse me, all religions point to the same thing. We are all looking for the same transcendence, from the same union with the Supreme. That's what all religions are looking for. But Vedanta says it doesn't matter if you are Catholic, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, it's the same thing because it is the same principle. We call it Brahman in Vedanta. Others call it Shiva or God. But it is not a person, like in Catholicism, God, when you say God, is a person, personified, and is a male, right? And that always, I always questioned that since I was little. I said, why is God a male, right? And a lot of women ask themselves that, like, can God be a woman? Of course, because it is a principle, right? It's the God principle. It's not a person. So that liberates you when you explore that. You say, wow. So in the Vedanta Center in Dallas, where I go, in the Vivekananda Hall where we meet for lectures, the altar has 3 pictures, beautiful pictures of Ramakrishna at the center and Vivekananda and Ramakrishna's wife, Sarada Devi, to the other side. And on the other walls is Buddha and Jesus. And when I saw that, I said, I am at home. This is almost like a universal religion. And that doesn't mean that Vedanta follows the principles of Jesus or Catholicism. It's just that it's accepting, it's recognizing that Jesus was a prophet, a supreme being, probably a yogi. That's very controversial, but I do believe it. It makes total sense. And he got it, he got the Sanatana Dharma, the eternal law, the universal principles that never change. And that is compassion, transcendence, consciousness. So I think in the West, we are understanding that more and more. It's slowly getting into our minds and people are understanding it. But it is hard to understand because we are socially conditioned to think about there's only one God, that is the God of Catholicism, and it's a man, and it has a beard, and it's a person. But so that's what I love about Vedanta too, that it is accepting of other religions. So it is so important that, because that is, if we really practice that should put a stop on fighting about religion. It's absurd. There is everything around us, and everything is the same divinity, the same supreme being, the same substance. It's manifested in different forms. So it was manifested in the form of Buddha, in a real person. It was manifested in the form of Jesus. It was manifested in the form of Kali, in the form of Durga, in the form of goddesses, female, male. It's all the same thing.
That's actually a nice way of looking at it.